Hey guys, and welcome to the Mysteries of Selindor, episode 132. I am your GM Gagnor, and last time we played was actually for once last week, which feels wild. We are sans a burb at the moment, but hopefully she'll pop back up when she rises
From the dead.
from the dead. Um,
Phoenix.
in the meanwhile, last time, as far as I'm aware, the team spent their time attempting to level and talking to everybody there is to talk to. After multiple attempts, Grim found a way to speak to the Star Mother, who continued to scream weird things at him, which he interpreted as well as he could, and found. What did you find when you talked to her again?
We basically
I
learned
learned
she's
that
a
she's the source
singularity.
of all matter
Right,
in the
that's right.
universe.
She's the source of all matter in the universe. Kind of a big
And I
deal.
saw the birth of the universe and the birth
Hmm.
of all the gods, and my brain almost exploded.
So basically, just your average day for New Death. Following that, they Seti had a number of conversations. One with her father.
Two with
at
my
some
dad.
point, two with her dad because
I forgot.
she can't get it done in one. Uh, following which, she had a very interesting conversation with a impatient and a very doubtful Kieran, who is eagerly awaiting the time in which they will give their proper answer. But the most important conversation, as far as they are aware right now, is that they have a conversation coming up that they have scheduled as a little date with a newly named god, Azoth, the Magister, who is the representative of Arcadia.
Right, we did learn his real name.
So, with that, talks about how to deal with Inveruna have continued. And as far as I'm aware, you are in the midst of such conversations within the mystic manor created by Seti. You are sat down at a table, and everyone is eagerly discussing, or maybe not so eagerly for some, discussing how they will
Heatedly.
progress
Passionately.
with a group of unknown character.
Yeah, so it's like 10 p.m. We've had dinner, we're eating dinner, we're getting ready to settle in for the night, at which point we're going to go see the Magister. Those of us that want to. Definitely Mitnir, because he's been reading the book. I feel like we all kind of do we have anything to add to that discussion that we left off of in the middle last time? Like we've pitched several options and kind of shared how we feel about them. And we can't come to a consensus without Brapsy here. So do we just want to shelve that for later, or do we have more that we want to say? New ideas.
I think we can put a pin in it.
All right. I'm glad I spent a long time picking out this really tense music for this exact conversation
With this tense music.
that we can't have.
As you guys are having this very important conversation, suddenly there is an individual who bursts through the door and says, "I made brownies. I'm so sorry to bother you all. I attempted to make brownies for the first time. Look." And you see Cleary is holding a big tray of what appears to be burnt brown chocolate pastries.
The Fey creatures?
Oh. I understand your confusion. No, these are a treat. They are developed from the cacao nut. And quite a bit of sugar and flour. And, well, they're quite tasty, if I do say so myself. And I put a little bit of, well...
Larry, have you been feeling
Let's say the
anxious?
Fae were involved.
Like we're all in here discussing things and you're just out there like feeling anxious and busy and like you have to do stuff.
I will admit that the conversations have been long. And he did. I haven't really heard anything, but it's like when you hear mom and dad arguing in the next room, just that sort of muffled.
We'll try to keep it down in the future. And I want you to know we're not arguing, we are disagreeing loudly.
Well, I just want to remind you all that I care about you all so very deeply. Also, there's pot in these brownies.
Oh, okay. Well, that
Great.
we'll definitely need.
very
His
hard.
smile is enormous,
Have
and
you?
he just keeps looking at his hands.
Okay.
What
Why don't
is
we
the
get you to sit
domain?
down?
What is the domain of the Magister? Is he the
What do
god
you?
of?
Oh, the Magister. I believe he's the god of wizards, actually.
Just wizards?
Wizards in general. He is not the source of magic, but an arbiter of it, I believe.
But he's not like the god of like pain or travel or anything with his like magical.
I don't believe so. I don't think that is
We can
technically
ask
his
him about
domain
his
in
domain
any
when
way.
we meet up.
Grim is just curious what a
If you think of
What?
Mistra as the source of all magic, as like a font in which all magic that is used by mortals is siphoned into the universe and the world, the Magister would be at the height of those that interpret it, the raw magic stuff. He is the master of spellcraft in and of itself. So not enacting will without rules, but rather the writer of the rules by which mages have interacted with the weave since the beginning. Well, at least since the beginning of wizards.
Grim is just wondering what a fracture of the Magister would do.
I don't know, actually.
And if it would have
Probably
any
make you a
properties.
better wizard?
I'm
Probably
wondering
make
if
you
it
turn
would
into a
have any
tree.
properties similar to his book.
It's hard to say. I think his books, if I've heard correctly, were written during the times of his reign. Not much is known about his life before becoming a god. Perhaps the divinity that he had glimpsed when he was creating them had somehow connected themselves to the book. I don't know. My God, are my hands always this color?
Yes.
Are you sure? They seem very blue.
Oh no, they were probably white at one point
White?
when you were
You
a moon
know,
guy.
not white,
toast?
but clear. Oh no, he's having a hard time with the drugs. How many brownies did you eat? How strong are these? I'm gonna take a little bite of a brownie. How grassy is it?
I
You
mean,
know-
make a medicine check.
You know, if it helps you to calm down, you did burn the brownies, so you probably destroyed many of the terpenes.
13.
13? It's really hard to tell. He did burn these brownies quite a bit.
So it mostly just tastes like char, not like
yeah, the
grass.
inside of the brownies do still appear to be very brownie, but the exterior has like a nice crust of just sort of black.
Said he just chews a little bit and then takes it out and prestidigitates it away. those
If he
are very
overcooked them, he might have cooked out a lot of the.
well. It was still too much for you. However many you ate. Why don't you sit down? I'll play you a nice song. We'll put on a little light show. We'll relax, and it'll be okay.
Okay, I'm going to sculpt.
There
And
you
he
go.
sits down
Yeah,
and he just
okay.
grabs a piece of clay and slams it down on a table. And it's like not a table for sculpting. This is one of the ones that you've created within like the lobby where you guys are talking. And And
That's
it's
okay.
just like, this nice fancy, maybe marble table. And he
Mhm.
just slaps a bunch of clay down on it and he starts shaping it out. He's just going,
Okay, good. Yes, good.
Well,
Okay,
a
so
very large toddler.
yes, I will get him settled and make sure he's taken care of. And then when I go to bed, I will pull all of us. Everyone wants to go see the Magister?
Yes, would be helpful.
Okay. I will pull
Sure.
all of us if I can. I'll get as many of us as I can. I don't know how hard it's going to be. We do have an invitation, so it should be easy.
you have to
Uh,
cast a psychic net. See who you catch.
I'll everybody just try to, as you fall asleep, think like open mind, waiting to be grabbed, ready to go see the Magister. Don't let any nightmares in.
But
And
they
I'll
make for the best fights.
well, not tonight. We're not fighting tonight. We're learning about your book. Okay. And break.
Okay, as you all go off to do your own things for the rest of the day, which I assume in this case, this is an evening conversation you were already having.
It's like 10 p.m. So yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you guys spend your time, winding down for the evening, getting into the position where you're going to sleep. Some of you probably in a bedroom. Some of you maybe just passing out on a pile of dirt that looks nice. But with that, unless anybody has anything else they would like to do, I will say that everyone here, go ahead and make me. This is going to be like a form of meditation. So just make me a wisdom check. If you are proficient in Arcana, you may use Arcana, which is, I know, intelligence, but
It's the same either way. 25.
That's a nat
18.
20 for a 21.
Hey, Whitney's ready to
That's a-
learn.
Nat 20
Oh.
for a 31.
Fuck me. Okay.
so as you dip into the pools of water of dreams, you see the three individuals you were there to get projected from their own domain, ready to be snatched up for you. Is the easiest thing to grab these individuals and bring them and scoop them up and bring them in with you. Unfortunately, Bropsy doesn't seem anywhere to be found. She seems to be in a deep, deep slumber.
Yeah. Or she's still awake, like fretting over stuff.
No, I assume she's sleeping right now.
All right. So I grab everybody up and seek out the Magister.
As you begin sifting through the many, many stars in the sky, you notice a constellation that seems to shift in front of your eyes. And as it does, you see a weird shape to it. Almost like looking at the constellation for Orion, you begin to see the nebulous clouds surrounding each of the stars that make it up and begin to reshape and reform as you see a sort of wavy, strange, ethereal form of a man beginning to turn towards you and say, "Oh, hello there, I found you."
Hello.
And as you look, you see the stars shift and become his eyes. And made up of the cosmos within the dream space, you see the shape of the Magister become slightly more apparent. It's still made of the cosmic nebulous of this space. And yet you see very explicitly the details of them, but much more magnificent than you've ever seen them before. Rather than the height of the man that normally stands before you, a little stuffy looking as the Magister, and yet still having that same spirit as the one that you had met within the outer planes whenever you traveled there through the mirror. The individual is actually at this point standing about 30 feet tall in comparison to the rest of you. And gently moving across like a sort of, at this point you notice you find yourselves finding rest beneath your feet, actual ground. You don't see anything. It just seems to be like a pool of glass beneath you and it seems to reflect the rest of the stars. So there's very definitely a ground-like situation as opposed to just floating through aimlessly.
I wish I'd waited until you described all that to change the music, because I went with like, oh, he's like in a celestial realm. I'll pick something with bird song. So I'm not changing it now. We're stuck with bird song.
Okay,
Step
we're
on
stuck
the
with
bird.
birdsong.
Yes,
Um,
well then, what can I do for you all?
Hi, thank you for agreeing to see us again. It's so nice. Well, first of all, Mitnir has been reading another one of your books that we wanted to talk to you about a little bit. The Mitnir, what's it called again?
Well, how to become a god?
Yes, how to become a god. One of my earlier musings.
Was this
That's
before you
quite
became a
funny.
god or right after?
Oh, well, of course, this was something I mused about after I had already become one. This is very interesting that you've come across such a thing. Where did you find such a copy of a book like this?
In our library?
Just in your library? What library is that?
Just looks at Seti like,
I
The Great Halls of Anthea?
Well, I make a demi-plane dimension thingy with a little mansion for us, and I hooked a library into it and just populated it with uh, all kinds of arcane nonsense.
The Magic Manor Library. I did, when I initially created that spell, plant a little bit of my old knowledge into every library that is created. You must have created quite a grand space to get a book such as that.
I mean, I put my heart and soul into the library. It was a gift for a very good friend who would have loved to be here, but unfortunately got too high.
Interesting friend. Well then, tell me, have you enjoyed this book of mine?
the parts I can understand, yeah?
Well,
It's the
I thought
first
it was a
book I've
fairly simple
seen.
book.
It's the first one I've seen Mitnir read that wasn't about lifting heavy objects. So this is a
I
big
haven't
milestone for
written
him.
many books about such trivial matters as gravity.
But so is this accurate though? Like, is this how you actually did it, or is this how you think it could be done?
I think that those musings are enough for you to consider were you to become one. More or less, the broad strokes. They're not an account on how I achieved such a thing, but every old dog must keep his secrets.
I couldn't do it. I had to switch bird song. Of course, we don't mean to like, okay, how'd you do it? We want to be next, that kind of thing. We're
But really,
trying.
how'd you do it? We want to be next.
Well, he does, but
Oh, ambitious as I was. Perhaps you have a chance, but you must truly know yourself if you want any charm. I, for one, learned over many years that the pursuit of power is a corrupting thing. When I was at my peak, well, what other wizards would consider the peak, I hated myself more than I was proud of what I'd accomplished. The many that had fallen in the pursuit of power, my own pursuit, my own aims. I couldn't justify it by the end. But it was Mistra herself who lifted me up and embraced me. And in many ways, that is how one is capable of becoming a god, is by the favor of a god. I was a chosen for a while, actually, and as many of you are seeking something similar, perhaps that would be your starting point.
oh,
But
you're
never
already
forget,
doing good
there's
work.
only so much divinity in the universe.
Right. So that was kind of leads into another. Unless you have more questions, Mitnia.
Go ahead.
Okay. There's this thing happening, or potentially going to happen down the line. What happens if a god or even a higher entity, something that governs a domain, dies and
In this case, killed.
or is killed? The vacuum that is created in that domain, does the world fall apart? Does a new
There have been
person?
many instances in which such a thing has happened. For instance, my original master, Mistra, at one time was slain. During this time, being the main channel of magic as it is that mortals wield, brought about a time in which no magic could be cast. Some were able to channel the divinity of other gods, but the weave itself was cut off, so known as the spell plague. But even that ended with the rising of the new Mistra, replacing itself with the creations of magic from the ether, was no being could have met her spot and replaced her during this time, save if I truly wanted to.
Right.
Simply, the universe would reconstitute them as they were, although maybe a bit different. A new Mistra would be created from the very ethos and the faith of those that had known her and loved her.
Right. So you're saying essentially that the universe rights itself. That
With time,
the wound heals
the
in
mortals
time.
may suffer the dalliances of gods, but the universe itself is mostly unaffected.
What if we were talking about something bigger than a god like Mistra?
Even a god like Mistra.
An entity that
You
might,
are asking for something quite big, then.
something that might govern time or space.
You're speaking of overgods, of which even we barely
Comprehend.
interact. I wouldn't say comprehend. My studies have brought me to understand that they offer a higher purpose, whereas gods get their divinity, their power, is reliant upon the mortals that worship them. Overgods have no such thing.
We're
They
all
are woven into the
beholden to
very
it.
fabric of the universe.
Right.
Some of them, such as the being known as Ao, have punished gods during times in which they have abused their power, have rewritten the laws a few times. When initially they had presented tablets that governed how the gods would behave, there came a time in which those were shattered. The rules became more grey. But overbearing as such a creature still remains. They would step in only when one has done something truly against the nature of what was intended since the start. The abuse of souls is one. The abuse of, well, one's position as a god has very rarely been monitored.
As a thought exercise, imagine if one of the overgods fell or was supplanted. What might that look like? And do you imagine that gods, like yourself, might try or would even be able to sweep into the vacuum and set things straight?
That is a strange proposition, I must say. In the event that an overguard were to vacate their position, perhaps in that moment, something like a god, or maybe even a mortal with enough know-how to skip, although it'd be quite unlikely, there's a chance that they might be able to. I do not think that this would be impossible. I will say that.
But would the process be instantaneous?
Doubtful.
Because if it's
Although,
not instantaneous, would anybody survive?
How much of the universe would fall apart without time or space for even a minute?
Even moments without space.
you do raise a very large point. In the collapse of space itself, or matter becoming one entity for a moment, identities would be erased, potentially. And
The
yet,
gods would be fine, but the rest of us would probably be pretty messed up.
it's hard to say how it would affect in such a way. Perhaps the myriad of different forms of any given soul across the multiverse would collapse into one. And much like when you arrive in Selindor. For instance, I am merely a conglomeration of the many magisters that have walked the path the same as me in as many timelines as we are similar. Perhaps I am also Balthazar, a wizard who raised up unto that point and did not go by the name Azuth, but reached a very similar story arc. Perhaps my name is Gale.
It's a stupid
As
name.
it is. Perhaps so.
Right. I don't feel any better about any of this. The prospect of collapsing all the multiverses into one is in itself an annihilation.
I would
All
say
the
that
other cities out there cease to exist. We all become someone else, someone in the middle of all of us.
And yet, when we gods leave Selindor, we are able to become our one self again.
What's that like?
It's like when you remember a dream for a short while. You're aware of it, the broad strokes.
The others
And yet it
sort of fade away.
fades away over time. You're aware of certainly the things that were you when you were the conglomerate, me, as I am here with you all. I would remember everything this conversation and everything I've done within Selindor, but the memories of what I'd done in other lives would fade. I would lose access to them over time.
See. We might revisit this particular topic, but while it's milling over in my head, and if other people have questions. But the other thing
I do
don't
like this scholastic conversation. I was not expecting this when you came to speak with me. I find the conversation itself very pleasant.
I'm very glad. I'm so glad. I would hate to intrude too much on your time.
Of course. Granted, I'm much more agreeable to this conversation because none of you appear to be wizards, which means in your pursuits to become a god, you would not be attempting to slay me. Much more
Oh,
comfortable conversation than
I
it
think
could be
Vidnir's the
otherwise.
only one that really wants to be a god, and he likes to just hit things with his axe. So, totally different.
If
You
I-
might have a competitor then.
If I were to slay you, would I become the wizard god?
Well, hold on.
I believe that if you were to slay me, another might take my place first, but my guess is that since none can rise to my caliber within this place, I would simply reconstitute with time.
You're
Not that I
saying there's
wanna
no wizards good enough to replace you.
I doubt it, quite. There might be one or two that would take a stab at it, Elminster for one.
So is that because are you not the god of wizards, basically, right?
I do have such a purview. I'm the lord of spellcrafting.
Oh, so anyone that makes spells, really.
Well, anyone who goes through the arcane, arduous study of magic, arcane rune circles, and knowledge, a sorcerer gains their power from something else, something biological. Warlock casters, as you know them,
Hello.
gain it from their attachment to another entity. Of course, these classifications are all muddled, and time has allowed people to classify the many
Right, I
casters
mean, like-
and interactions of the weave, and yet
Cleary and I don't do spells exactly with the same mindset, but it is all under the arcane umbrella, and we do a lot of the same spells. I just use sound
they
as
are accomplished by many different means.
right.
Well, they are mapped after a lot of the creations of those that came before you.
So you're saying I am part wizard?
Well, I'm
No,
saying
you
I'm
are a
part wizard.
With enough divinity pouring out of you to make even creatures such as me blush.
Yes, he's very divine.
Well, I'll ask you the same question I asked our high wizard, who is not here. Because I know you are the god of wizards, but you do have that book that is Guide to Planar Travel, and I do wonder what would happen if you had a fracture of yours. Would a fracture of yours be able to do anything similar to your book?
Are you talking about
Your atlas?
Yes, well, my atlases and my many other spell tomes that are created from my many travels, or directly after becoming a god. Several of them hold divinity, as I roast divinity. A certain amount of, we would say, the energies that are created by faith of others, by reverence to both my legend and what I can provide to mortals, has imbued upon all that I create as well. I believe your friend goes by the name Valhadran. Take, for instance, his many sculptures. Even I've heard of a few. And our faith and reverence to recognizing such masterpieces has given them more power than any could normally create. Did you know, in the early days, Valhadran stopped what could have been one of the greatest catastrophes happening within the realms of Faerun?
Oh,
Sorry, reality just shattered for a moment. Bring it back.
yeah, Beelin, just stop sharing and we'll be good. Okay.
There we go.
We're in the wrong spots, but we're
I'm sorting it. Carry on. I'll fix it.
So what you're saying is that it's not necessarily just your power, but the power that's given by those who worship you, or
Oh, right. Sorry. I was trying to help you understand where the power of those books comes from. If you're trying to gain a fracture from me, it largely imparts on you what part of me is received, and what essence of me is understood and compatible with you. If you were to take a fracture of mine by my own volition, I might be able to steer it in such a direction, allow you. It's the same way other clerics are involved, in which I have many clerical worshippers. You can see there are many in the arcane domain that call themselves holy men. And it is that same interaction which might allow me to steer and allow a devoted, the fragment of my power that you might seek, whereas I do have the ability to traverse planes at will. If that
Right.
is what you mean.
Well, what I'm wondering is, because you know what happens to, well, what has happened to at least one of your atlases.
I am vaguely aware.
And Grim is wondering if, instead of a book, if you could do the same thing with a person.
Ah. Do you mean the same thing that was done to my books be done to a person? In a sense, you mean to create an unbound ephemeris of the flesh. If we're not
Yes.
speaking in code anymore.
Yes.
I wonder if that's what Greed was doing.
Well,
Read.
we have a fracture of the Star Mother. And perhaps if we had a fracture, the right fracture of the Magister that was similar enough to the Atlas, we couldn't possibly make our own living ephemeris that
That's
they did not know about.
The ephemeris, as far as I'm aware, and how it differs from the many things, is that it has been. It has been wrought with a plague of the far realm. It has been written in such a way, created in such a way, that it has linked the far realm and the abilities of the book together. I don't think it would be wise to do such a thing to a person. If you were to inexorably link the far realm to an individual, it would. Well, you've seen it, Illithid. That might be if you're lucky.
Yes. No, it's just something Grim was wondering.
I think you might have accidentally stumbled onto what Greed is doing. I think that makes sense from what I saw of him in the far realm.
It's hard to say what this greed you're speaking of, although the name is quite ominous when considering what you're suggesting.
Yes, he was a good guy. I don't know what happened. He seemed nice. He used to travel with us and then vanished, and he's been in the far realm ever since.
We have seen individuals who have had dalliances with an unbound ephemeris that had left the hands of a Northart incarnation. And what it had done to them was twisted their flesh and malaligned them in such a way that they were nearly unrecognizable as mortal creatures. Granted, most of these seem to be in the early stages when they perish from their own twisting of the power within them.
Yeah.
These seemed from what they were, well, hold on. I'm trying to see, remember if this is safe information. I believe he is exhibiting traits similar to an ephemeris, correct? But without having an ephemeris, isn't he?
Maybe. Maybe. I can't say for sure.
It's hard to say.
Might
Nobody
be.
really knows how these ephemeris are well used. We had one
I
in our
have an
possession for a
idea.
very short amount of time.
I have an
As far as
idea if
I'm
it helps
aware,
you. Do you know about the Star Mother?
Star Mother?
Do you have a
Then
do you have a do you have a spell that reads minds? It would be easier to show you.
well, I could certainly peer behind the veil of your mind. If you would
As
allow it.
Can he?
It
If
it's a
appears you
lot.
have
our...
quite a bit of a block.
I can't explain what I saw very easily because my brain almost exploded. So if you would like to just take a peek in there, you're probably much more capable of witnessing the birth of the existence than I am capable of explaining it.
You would have to open your mind for me.
That's fine. Am I able to do that voluntarily? With the
Yes,
Yeah,
you
you
just
want
need to
tattoos?
simply open your mind, as it appears that you've been touched by something quite strong. And to
Oh,
force
yes.
it might actually shatter your mind.
It just like scratches behind the ear, like.
Like, do I have to like ask Torzak's permission or something, or do I just like free
No,
to
you
just do it?
basically just have to willfully open your mind to it. It's
Yeah, we're like,
against
okay,
your
yep.
will.
Yeah, but like, here we go.
Yes.
You're free.
"Ah."
Oh,
And he begins, and you begin replaying everything that you could remember happening. Oh, I would love to spend some time interpreting this. Oh, whereas these could be visions by a being that thinks quite highly of themselves, if there was even the slightest nugget of truth hidden within it, that changes my very knowledge and understanding of the universe itself.
I believe that the way that the ephemeris works is that by being connected to the planes, it allows her to reach in to more places to retrieve pieces of herself more easily, and thus somebody is able to take advantage of the fact that she's trying to reclaim these pieces of herself and take that power for themselves.
If you think of all matter in the universe, technically we're all made of the same pieces. I think she can simply reach between those pieces and connect them, draw in what they are, and make them accessible to herself to infiltrate.
Yes.
Whereas you might be right, at one point she was something that was part of everything, or was everything. These two things have been separated so much by their own identity, self-inflicted or by the understanding of others. I don't think she has the ability to ever truly bring everything into one. But that is the fear that all gods within the council have. If the sleeping demon were to rise.
But it seems that she still at least touches everything, right?
She simply
still
seems to be able to make what she touches become her.
right. So that seems to be something related to how the book works.
Mhm.
It has something to do with this. Like you saw the tentacles and how they're pulling, trying to bring things back together.
Understanding
Well,
that, you may wish to speak to those that study the corruption that Selindor has, and Northot's influence upon things.
What
For
are,
instance,
I was going to ask who.
it is the primary directive within the Nexus, the risen mind of Ystrande.
oh, well, we know that guy.
Yeah, okay.
Idrisma?
I believe that is the foul creature who leads them. I say foul, and yet I've sat to tea with him once or twice.
He's an excellent host for tea.
Well, another
Surprisingly
guy I'll
so,
just have to
considering
read my
his
mind, I guess.
heritage. But it was him, that individual who rose from his depth of a place within the Underdark, rose his mind that was once broken and rejoined into the weave, reclaimed magic, and had concert with me. Perhaps, although I'm not to my exact knowledge, Mistra herself.
Well, very interesting.
There we go.
Yeah, that's
As
so
it
helpful.
is, that is their tacit duty, is to study the influences and the existence of the shard, the grand shard. As far as we know, this grand fracture, if we're being more specific, is similar to those that are absorbed by immortals.
But what is it from? Or
That is the question. What we know about fractures is that they are that which could not be consumed. That bit of power that could not belong to an entity once it had entered this realm, or were taken from an entity upon its interaction with Northought at its weakest point. That waning point when it is close to death, when that raw essence could be derived. Northought seems to take what he needs and what is left behind. That is what a fracture is. Mostly these things are the size of a marble, or perhaps the size of an apple, as I once offered to you.
We had some golden apples, but they weren't quite the same, I don't think.
Well, they are a similar breed. Meanwhile, what could possibly make a fracture of that size? And you see a sort of illusion appears, and you can see basically a diagram of Selindor, this massive tree that has all these different facets. You can see, I think, 16 different branches within the twist that houses within it a hovering crystal that you've all seen in the middle of the nexus that stretches straight up from the top all the way down to Shard. It's called Shardhome for a reason, just because that's the base where the hovering crystal that is called the Grand Fracture rests. It says, but what could create a fracture of that size?
I wonder.
Does it look familiar?
It's when you look at it, it's just a large, craggy, like sharp shard that's like the full length of like the interior core down to the base. It's enormous.
Is
Well,
it green though, or no?
No, it's every color you could imagine.
Okay, so it's just like iridescent kind of.
And why hasn't anyone absorbed it?
it's too big.
If you think about the power was within the universe, take me for example. If I were to enter here in my full form from any one place, sacrifice my tether to that reality that was once mine, and truly come into form here, I believe the amount of energy, should I become a fracture, what would be left? Maybe the size of you.
I have a
That
theory,
energy
but
could be absorbed by a suitable vessel, say a dragon, or a creature with enough power of their own to simply handle it. But they would be consuming the greater part of me. They would be consuming a god.
whatever made the Grand Fracture is considerably more than a god.
I'm not even sure it was an entity at all. We would know if a god or something greater than a god was deleted from the universe. We would know. Probably.
Unless it
Unless
happened
unless
before you
you
existed.
or unless your memories were.
It's hard to say. That is the aim of the study, to understand the Grand Shard, which seems to hold some sort of power. It seems to be a source in which all the planes breathe, which the mists of Selindor pour forth.
It's
And yet it is
giving.
quite separate from Northought himself.
But Northought
Have we
wants
ever-
into Selindor. And I'm just throwing spaghetti at the wall again, okay? But what if it's from? Could it be from Azathoth?
I don't think it's from Azathoth necessarily.
If the dreaming demon were even partially devoured, a fracture of that size would make sense. The nature of it, the energies that come off of it are both divine and truly evil. They're all encompassing. Every plane is touched within this energy. You could feel the presence of every fabric, of every reality.
Well, that's why I
The
thought of
weave
that.
itself nets around this thing and is disturbed.
Is that not what
Well,
Azathoth
that
does?
sounds about right then.
It's hard to say. It's something I might muse upon.
It could. I don't know how. This is all beyond my tiny little brain, but maybe it helps explain why Northot's so desperate to get here. Not just the access to all the planes, but if he's trying to wake Azathoth, maybe he needs that fracture.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but Northot is in no way not here.
Well,
Whereas he keeps his true form non-manifest, Northot has access to this realm. As many denizens walk through it.
we know that. I meant more.
And if you think that this great tree of Selindor is a tree, you are greatly mistaken.
It was all made from Northot, wasn't it? By him.
Child, it is him.
Right.
We've seen it become tentacles before.
Right.
The rules by which he interacts with this place seem to have a strange, inherently systematic means of happening. There seem to be rules that even he must obey. We are never certain if they're rules that he created or rules he must obey simply because of the universe's law. Some of the original writers of those laws would be the overgods. Ao, for instance, wrote the laws of the gods and how we interact with the planes.
Right.
I think Northot sort of makes his appearance when something happens that he wants. We saw the tree turn into tentacles when we completed that trial dungeon, which essentially freed up.
That's right. The trial of elements. I remember a blackening on that day. The skies went dark. That is when the tether, the veneer of this realm, was
Lift.
torn away.
Yep, that was us.
Just for a moment.
Might have been our fault.
Accidentally.
I mean, no one told us not to complete the thing.
No, of course not. You did great. However, you accelerated our timetable from what could have been 100 years or more to one at the most.
Oh, great. Wow. All right.
This is why we stay in the culture.
Right.
Gives us a
Any-
lot more time.
Anytime we've essentially freed a primordial, Northot's made an appearance.
We
Yes.
have known for a while he was after certain powers. We knew his aim, but the primordials does suggest what we fear the most. He's attempting to fully corporealize those that exist beyond our realm, all realms. The far court, the far gods, the elders.
Right. We know that. We're trying to stop him in what little tiny ways we can accomplish.
Of course. I understand you are all picked and chosen and put together by he who watches the weave. It was his own little pet project. He believes you might be able to shift the tides because none of you are beholden to the same laws that the universe dictates. And I find you amusing, so I do not mind discussing things with you, but I have very little faith in your ability to truly change the outcome of things.
That's fair. We do appreciate you talking to us and being so open to this discussion.
Of course.
Is there... Well, one thing we didn't touch on that is very important. How long do you suppose, if someone had an atlas and a piece of the Star Mother, how long do you suppose it would take to make it into an ephemeris? Would it be instant?
It depends on their level of power, I would say. An instance such as me, if I were to attempt such a thing, pulling on the full weight of my divinity, I might be able to accomplish it within perhaps a day your time.
So,
But
for
an
somebody,
individual of your power, perhaps 6
Let's-
months.
Let's say somebody slightly more powerful and knowledgeable than us. Somebody who is intimately familiar with Far Realm.
The height of Arcana, one of my own chosen, for instance. As I myself have not fully selected my chosen, but I do have many acolytes. If we were to choose one at random, for instance, the current Black Staff, I would say the current Black Staff, with proper knowledge, not having to do the research, but a recipe for what should be done, take about a month.
All right. That is less time than I was hoping, but more than perhaps, well...
and for one of the court, probably like right away, right?
It's hard to say. Northot created the ephemeris himself. Whereas none of us truly know how that is done, I could create something similar with enough will. To truly have it be an ephemeris with his essence, his rules, as these were created to allow his denizens, these incarnations of Northot, to exact a larger amount of his power. They hold no real bearing on the creature himself, as far as we're aware. But to his many incarnations, they are vital to showing their true capabilities. If you were to face an incarnation of Northot without an ephemeris, I'd say you would all be capable of taking one down in the right circumstances.
Already done that.
We have. Maybe.
Several times.
Well,
Well done, then. Perhaps you will make more of a difference than I thought. However, if he was in possession of an ephemeris, I dare say none of you would stand a chance in your current state.
yes.
Perhaps, a few more years' time. But nobody quite advances to the peak of their mortal form. Not that quickly, anyways. Not within time frame that you've now set and accelerated.
Oops.
What if we
Well-
become the champion?
To wield the powers of a realm channeled through you, which is what the champions of Selindor are meant to be, a safe means by which the gods empower their chosen to enter the far realm and do what needs done. Well, it depends on the gods channeling and how well you can make use of such power. Your compatibility your will. To be honest with you, it's the only chance we have is to pick the best candidates to best wield our abilities, and Northart has made it so it's so very possible. If it
You
weren't for the existence of fractures, I doubt we would be able to create champions capable of doing what we desire at all. It would rip your mortal bodies apart. We would have to descend ourselves, risking everything.
You definitely have to lower your expectations.
Well, the gods would never do it. They would seal this place off completely.
At the end of the day,
Well,
they would
well.
save themselves and watch humanity die.
I'll be a champion soon if, I just don't get
I think you're
eaten
quite
by
wrong there, dear.
Demogorgon.
I hope so.
There is no chance the gods let mortals die. Not even the evil gods that make men suffer wish such a thing. Because without you, they are nothing.
That's true. Sorry, I
You
left
can
my...
be sure of one thing, is that no god who intends to remain one will ever forsake living mortal flesh. You are the batteries that power them.
I
No.
think you mean we're supposed to be conduits. We're not batteries.
Sure. Whatever lets you sleep at night.
Now, you said you don't have a champion, is that right?
Well, I have several that are in the making.
Well, I just want to throw it out there that I'm looking for sponsorship because, you'd think I'd be a shoo-in for the Feywild, but they've got a lot of stuff going on and it hasn't been said yet. So, if you're looking, or
let me go check the
maybe
accounts real quick.
maybe Valhadran, I haven't talked to him if he wants to be anybody's champion, but he is not a champion yet, so...
There are a few that I have considered. Whereas I have many chosen in my many iterations, there are not currently any that reside within Selindor or have adapted in such a way that is to make them truly a good choice at this time. To be frank with you, I have two individuals that I have considered bringing under my peerage, and you are not one of them, dear. Sorry to say.
It's okay. I was
Your
just shooting my
interaction
shot.
with the weave is inherent from your father.
Oh, so I'm more like a sorcerer, is what you're saying.
Similar in the way that you receive your power. Yes.
Oh, what about Valhadran?
Valhadran himself, no chance. But the being known as Cleariasantov, I have taken an interest in, yes. His path as an actual wizard, even in his minute form, has quite a bit of potential.
It's very
Were he to
impressive.
start accepting fractures, I would be willing to give one of mine, in the hopes that we would find an arcane presence capable of wielding the great powers that I would provide as representative of Arcadia. The other that I have chosen met in competition recently, although he flopped quite a bit, and it was quite funny to watch him. I forced him to work with more meager arcana during the competition. I cut off his connection to the weave and forced him to do it through other means.
Oh, sneaky.
And yet, he was trounced quite well by this one here, nods the Grim. And that one, that's sleeping far beyond. And he gestures towards a rose gold colored star.
That's our Brapsy.
His name is Uzar, 4th chair of Black Tower.
The poor guy that just rolled really poorly.
His
I don't-
connection to the weave his dedication to the craft, his knowledge make him an ideal candidate. But he is not so in worship to the Black Staff itself that he can't separate himself. Well, those are the ones I've been considering as of late. But I could be surprised.
I will talk to Cleary and see what.
Good luck. As far as I know, there was an iteration which Valhadrin himself was very close to a god.
Yes. Almost
And that is the
supplanted
very
her.
Cleary that has filled this space. He would be giving up quite a lot.
Yes. It's his decision.
There would be, for instance, if I wished to be a very short old man who could only cast spells up to the non-act.
Well, you make a very cute short old man, I'll tell you that.
This 30-foot tall celestial entity sort of starts chuckling in front of you and just like see waves of energy pulsing off of him. He's like,
Well, I can be tickled, can't I?
I do have one more question while we still have you here. I asked, you probably know them, you've probably run into them many times. I asked Uriel and Asteria for any information they have, but do you have any advice? I have to go to the abyss soon. Do you have any advice exploring the abyss?
In my pursuit of power, during my darkest times, I did seek to rid the world of certain entities, to correct the balance that would happen if I were to walk a very dark path on the side of magic. I found nothing there for myself, but I will say this. There is a staircase, unseen, a spiral that descends from the upper layers of the abyss down into the void below. Walking that path is the only true way to conquer the abyss. But to do so means walking through more realms than any mortal is meant to see. Don't walk the stairs. Only madness awaits you. Unless there is some god that wishes to guide you gently through the process, I worry for your sanity.
So definitely go through the plane of portals, not the staircase.
If you wish to travel via portal, there are a few that exist. But the best way to do so would be to enter through the Nexus. During each of the many... God, I forgot what I called it. Tree shake.
Oh yeah, when the tree moves and things move.
Churn.
The churn.
During the churn. During any given churn, the level of the abyss in which the branch of the abyss within the Nexus connects to changes. Keep an eye on one that you wish to descend to. Enter and tell them. Well, I assume you should be able to do it if Zogtamoy has interest in you. You may be able to get a pass to enter directly.
This is probably true, yes.
That would
I
be
was
my
saying I could
recommendation.
probably just go into Pazunia and just be like, gotta go find the portal. But that's probably
Your
way
ability
too
to
much
find
work.
your way back here afterwards be very dangerous.
Yes, probably so.
But if you enter a realm that exists within the Nexus, a sliver that has been cut through, you'll have a guaranteed path back. I hear that traversing the plane while inside, there's a bit of a veil. You can sense when you travel outside the influence that Selindor has within the realm. You can easily see it from the outside and return to it. It's like a shimmer of mist. Some places, the mist becomes so thick you cannot see. Those are the places that can take you anywhere. But the shimmering veil that you see within the realm, the ones that lured us gods in the beginning, much to the chagrin, well, those are easy enough to spot and navigate.
Okay. Thank you. I will not go down the staircase.
You could, but we may not see you before the universe ends.
No, yeah. Maybe after everything's done, I'll go. Could be a nice thing. Once Grim is immortal and has nothing else to do, we will conquer all of the abyss, become the prince. Why not, right?
I hope that your visions of grandeur come true. Because,
Oh, I don't want to rule it.
a
I just
god
think
such
it,
as you would be
may as well.
interesting. Certainly, an abyssal lord such as you would be more agreeable than the ones I have met.
Probably.
Yeah, there would be some rules changes, probably. You know.
A
Well,
lot
no
less
more-
slime. Way less slime.
I will give you time for one more question before I must
Fewer
go.
things made out of skin.
Working my mind at such an accelerated pace has a bit of a drawback over time.
Who's got the final question? What's it like being a god? Like, what's your favorite thing about being a god? And your least favorite thing?
I would say my favorite thing about being a god is that you always know that someone is thinking of you.
Oh, that's so sweet.
My least favorite thing about being a god is that despite everything, that's all you care about.
Oh.
I thought he was gonna say because somebody's always thinking about you.
It's the sense knowing that if everyone stopped thinking of you, you and
You'd be
nothing
gone.
fall from grace and power. I would be something, but no god. I would merely
most of us.
be a soul traversing. And even if I wanted to descend from what I am, no matter how hard you try, the allure of godhood is too strong. Trust me, young lizard. Godhood is not something to be taken lightly. You become beholden to that which gives you power. And once you begin, there is no turning back. Well, I hope
I'll tell you
all
what
come out of your
beholden
little
means
balls
later.
soon. In the meantime, this was a nice chat.
Thank you so much for seeing us. It was an absolute delight and an honor. And I hope we all get to have a nice chat after the world doesn't end in a year.
Well,
After we save it.
After
hopefully
we
we'll
save
chat
it.
before then. But as it is, I wish you luck.
Thank you and good night.
He sort of nods, and then as he does, you see sort of flash of magic begins to dance around in his wake. You see all the stars begin transforming into strange shapes and animals and lights and explosions of starlight, fireworks. Just
That's a hell of an exit. I've got to start setting off fireworks when I leave a room.
and then all of a sudden it and goes black, and the next thing you know, you guys are opening your eyes.
I turn
Now I
over
can't help
and
imagine Seti having just handsfuls of fireworks, and when she goes to leave a room, just like lights them all, and just like, wha!
I can prestidigitation can make flashes of light, so let's just boom.
It's like that moment where you have this really serious conversation, and it's like, you know,
Mhm. Yeah.
Maybe I will create a belt for Seti that shoots fireworks.
I'm like leaving. I'm like leaving my best friend's funeral.
all
It's
she has
just
to do is do a pelvic thrust, and it shoots a firework right out the belt buckle.
Seti's not that kind of bard.
Every hip thrust is a firework. Just
Dancing to some Shakira. Just
Yeah. You ever play Baby Little Fireworks?
in the morning, I roll over and I like. Is Cleary? How's he doing? Is he passed out?
How'd I end up here?
Yeah.
Oh, Cleary's just like sitting there,
Is he covered in
just like reading a
sculpture
book.
clay?
Like, he's like snuggled up. And he's got like a bunch of blankets wrapped around him. So like he's like on top of the covers because he didn't want to disturb you, but he's like
Aw.
completely wrapped himself, and he kind of looks like an inchworm because it's like all up his legs and then all around him, and he's just got a book that's just hovering in front of him, and he's just going, and he just gestures his eyes, and the page turns.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning, love.
Did you sleep at all?
Well, yes, I slept a little bit. A bit of advice. If somebody walks up to you and says, I have found a nice relaxing remedy for nightmares, and they have grown a drug within, well, an unregulated area such as the cauldron,
Uh-huh.
perhaps they shouldn't be trusted with your medical care.
I'm so sorry. I should have had Bropsy restore you before bed. I don't know why I didn't think about that. Are you okay?
Yes, I am fine now. I believe I had what you, well, I believe haven't had a trip quite this bad since the very first time that I went to a party of the, my brain's not working.
Cinder?
Wild. Yes, with Cinder. but Feywild's teachings.
Yeah.
First Feywild's teaching party, I had a trip similar to this. Just a
Maybe
bit
you
strong
should
for my taste.
Yes, you should stop messing around with drugs. I don't think they're for you.
Well, I've just been having.
We'll stick with chamomile to calm you.
Yes.
You've been having nightmares.
Well, it's more like getting to sleep has been a problem due to mind racing, and when I do sleep, it's less dreaming than anxiety remembering. Of course, your father, if he saw me having a nightmare, would clear it up. He knows I don't function well under true nightmares, but in the absence of such things, your psyche takes over. I just have a lot to think about lately.
Grim's gonna start growing him some psilocybin.
It's just very difficult to not be able to help you. Knowing that all of you are going through this turmoil, I can't even know what it's about. I can only theorize, and the thought of it keeps me awake every night.
I hope I can tell you soon, at least a little bit, or something, and I'll tell you everything as soon as I can. And why don't you let me? I'll come into your dreams at night, and I can help you.
You really have many things to do, love. You have so many things.
There's time.
And you
have conversations to have with your mother
Well, I saw
and
her
your
last
father,
night. It's fine. Night before last.
and you just had your conversation with the wizard, correct?
Yes, I have a lot to tell
The-
you about, actually. So he knew about you and your sculptures.
I'm honored.
And he said something about you. Hang on, he got cut off. He didn't get to finish the story about you you averted a disaster.
Ah, yes. Well, originally, as I was taking you on your little tour, through my mini sculptures along the Devil's Spine, I was meant to use it as a way to gain your trust. It was my instruction to eventually reveal myself as Valhadrin once you knew the story of what I was capable of. During my prime, there was a creature that did not belong here. A creature of such formidable elemental strength, it belongs only on our mirror world, the place where only the primordials should rest. During the time of early man within Faerun, this creature rose, began devouring everything. It was during that time when I sealed it within the Devil's Spine.
I see.
The secrets of the statues I hold there, when fully utilized and unlocked within the very central relief within the mountain, is the seal that is capable of releasing this entity.
Do you think that's likely to happen?
I think if things go atrociously in our world and things collapse, who knows what can happen to the mini magics that hold the many crazy powerful things at bay.
What was this monster? Was it big? Like, it's in the mountains because that was the only place big enough to hold it? I'm picturing, like, big...
Darling, its corpse is the mountain.
Oh, okay. Right.
Petrified within the ground.
I see. That is a big monster.
Continent devourer, yes.
Huh. And you did that. You...
Me and a small group of individuals, but I was the wielder of the great arcana that sealed the day. Back when it was a venturing party such as yourself that stood up to protect their homes, one of which was merely a farmer who cared so much he picked up a sword, began seeking to right the wrongs this terrible creature had wrought. It was a vile beast. I think the most similar creature that I could think of that might be to your knowledge is the dreaded Tarask.
Do I know what the Tarask is?
You know what a Tarask is.
Okay.
I think
Boy.
it's like the worm from Dune.
Yeah, it's like a Tarask, but way bigger. It was a husk of something that once fought.
I have seen the Devil's
slayed.
Spine. I have walked the Devil's Spine. So I'm just picturing that as a monster.
Oh gosh, what's its name? There's a name for this entity. And he didn't slay it, he merely sealed it. Because it couldn't be slain. But it was just the husk of the thing.
Its name was Greg.
Well, that is a hell of a story. I don't know what I expected, but I'm impressed. There's something else Azuth said that I should talk to you about. But I know you're Googling frantically, so I will wait a sec.
I am Googling frantically.
Database of pages are showing up on his eyes, just like
Yeah.
Like,
That's why they
I'm
call it
trying to
Googling, because
remember.
your eyes go all googly while you're thinking so hard.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it.
It's not important right now. Cleary,
Hmm.
Azuth said that he doesn't have a champion yet, but that he has a couple of people he's been eyeballing that he thinks of when he thinks of a champion. And one of them is you.
Oh.
As
Interesting.
Cleary. Specifically as Cleary in this world.
I hadn't considered that.
He said he would give you a fracture if you would be willing to take it. I'm only telling you because I don't know what it is you want long term, other than saving the world
babies.
and babies. I hope you want babies. I hope you didn't just agree to it because I want them. Do you want to be a father? Oh god. Now I'm spiraling. He's still Googling.
Sorry. Continue.
Well, I'm just letting you know you have options. A potential godly patron, if that is something that would interest you.
It's a hard choice, honestly.
It's not one you have to make, now or ever.
I will think on this. It's one of those things where if I choose to do this, Valhadrin means moving on. But it also means that I would be there with you if you all became champions as well to stand in the last fight.
Don't make this decision based on that. Imagine the last fight is already won, and you have the rest of your life to live out. I support you either way. If you want to be Cleary, if you want to see where that goes, I support you. If you cannot part with everything you were before, I support you. Because that is... I can't even begin to imagine how colossal that would be. And I do want to know Valhadrin.
All I can say is, I'll think of it.
Now, what do you think of breakfast?
I remember the name, it's Ericus.
Oh, well, that makes everything... That was definitely worth it, because that explains so much.
I've been Googling too.
Merely his husk, actually.
I found a stellar dragon that can be up to 3 million feet long.
Oh boy.
You're never
They're
gonna
in
find what
space.
this information is, though. Like this is my own thing. So I just remember what the entity was.
There's a constellate that can be up to 100 million miles long or something.
Nice.
Bonkers. What even is this game?
Well, they're like literally like constellations. They're
Yeah.
Mm.
All right. I make Clary get breakfast.
Okay.
No caffeine for him.
And while you guys are getting breakfast, let's all go ahead and take a break and get a little snack ourselves.
Yeah. Back in 5.
And we are back. So, eating breakfast.
Or dinner.
What would you guys like to do?
What other?
Me?
It's you guys are the ones who run away to the cauldron, so you have all the time in the world. So I don't remember at this point
Strange.
how many days you have left, or how many weeks you have left. I think it might be 5 weeks, 4 weeks left.
We finished our
Yep.
second week back in, which means we have 5 left.
There are 5 weeks left. All right. So week 3 within the cauldron. What would you guys like to do? I assume we can accelerate time again.
I hope so.
So, would you guys like to just spend this week training, or is there anything else you would like to accomplish during this time? Any specific conversations you need to have, or objectives you need to have done?
I'll be
I mean-
training and getting Aquam and maybe teaching Grim some Abyssal.
Yeah.
Don't forget to
And
call
I mean,
Barbara
at some
again.
point. Oh, has what's her name? Has Destrin ever given me my money? She ever returned from the?
Yeah, she would have returned by now, because
Okay.
it would have been another day, more or less, would have passed by this point since the last time. So yeah, she could have come back by now.
Okay, so I already calculated how much I'm getting back. So.
Okay. So yeah, Deathman comes in with the rest of her motley crew. She still like keeps the brain in the jar on her back whenever she's traveling, so that people don't freak out by a floating brain in a jar.
Yeah.
Her hands precede her and like open the doors for her as she walks in. She's like, "Hey, boss, got some stuff for you."
Enko, you have been a very, very good business partner.
Hey, anytime you want to do this again, you just let me know, because I've made a little bit of a mint myself, and it's helped a lot with the boys. And you hear come from underneath the hood.
I mean, I could teach the bird to make drugs, but I don't know if she'd be interested.
Yeah, no
So we
worries.
got that time dial cauldron. We could like really crank it out.
Hey, you let me know. I'm never against making more money. As it is, I have a lot of work to do. I notice you guys have been hitting the training hard. I might need to join in if you'll have me. Otherwise, I've got my own training I need to do. So,
Have fun.
interested parties and whatnot.
You ever feel like well, no, I don't know if I should offer that. That's dangerous. Never mind.
Cool. Great
Anyway,
talk.
have a good day.
Yeah, have a good one. Come on, boys. We got things to do. And you're,
I was gonna say if you ever feel like drawing a card.
oh, God. They do, yeah.
Somebody
Don't
else is
get
gonna draw a
Destrin
card at some
killed.
point.
I don't
Somebody's
remember
gonna
what
draw a
Gumble
card at some
sounded
point.
like. What did Gumble sound like? Does anybody remember?
The
brain in the jar?
That's so
I think
long
he
ago.
was kind of like. Oh gosh.
I don't
He was
remember.
snarky. I think he was kind of snarky.
I remember he had googly eyes put onto his
Yeah.
jar, and like eyebrows they would give him different eyebrow
He would
positions.
draw
Like
him eyebrows. Yeah.
yeah.
I think he was like just kind of like. I remember him being kind of like snarky.
Yeah, I don't remember what he sounded like at all
But-
anymore.
I don't remember.
Anyways, but he says laters and just goes.
It might have been something like that, honestly.
Yeah. All right.
Um,
With that though, unless anybody says otherwise, just training.
Aqua.
Anybody
Getting
want to
Aqua?
draw the card?
All right,
No.
for getting awkward, 2d12. If you're all getting awkward.
Yeah, I'll help.
You know, we still have the flower, and we
Am I
can
rolling?
safely draw one
Yeah.
card at a time.
16.
Times 100.
I'm just
Oh, yeah.
saying, one person can draw a card at a time. So long as it doesn't go bad, we still have our wish flower. That's just simple logic. You're muted or something.
Unless anybody's doing anything crazy, you all get a level, and you've got 1600 aqua. Not a level, a week's worth of training
Oh,
towards your level.
Is it 30 days, 40 days? I don't remember the number.
30
4
days.
weeks.
4 weeks.
Okay. Gotcha.
That's my 4th week.
Grim will
That's your
keep
fourth week?
convince everybody to
Yep.
pull a card.
For his first bonus level.
Come on, guys, you can do it.
Thank you, Gary. Hello.
We're just sitting there. We're just sitting there with these cards. Midnir, you know you want to draw.
After 6 more days.
After you level.
First thing I would like to
What
do
if you draw
is
the
take
card that makes
in,
you lose a level?
want to take in this fracture now that I'm 16.
Okay. You want to get Clear to help you, or do you want to get Seti to help you?
No. Mitnir will help. Mitnir offers to help.
Or do you want Mitnir to help you? Or, stands all of that, do you want to just leave the cauldron and get Yudrizba to help you?
What if the
I do
other
not wanna
Orin
leave
could
the
help
cauldron.
him?
It's an achromatic fracture. I don't think the other Orin can really help.
I mean, with the exception of when you do your training, you and Orin are one person.
Cleary needs something to do. Give the man a job.
You've done
What?
that.
Job? Huh? Help? What? I can help. I have nothing but time. And you turn around and you see like where he is, like, because you guys are always having like these important conversations. Like you walk in, you see Cleary, who joins in training as well with you guys. Like he's still training up with you guys, but you see that he's like sculpted like 15 sculptures since he's been in the cauldron. His bedroom has turned into like just like a small museum of sculptures. It's like, but I'm more than happy to help you if it's something to do with awakening. I haven't gotten my certificate yet, but as you know, I'm adept at this point, at least enough to guide you moderately. Maybe not as well as if you would have gotten it directly from a god or something, but I can help. Compared to before, where I just...
You got it from me. That's close enough, right? It was a birthday present.
Yeah. I do feel like if you're going to become a god, Mitnia, it's got to be like the god of mushrooms. The god of dirt and dirty
mean Grim?
things. Grim. What did I say, Mitnia?
Yep.
Mitnir's just like eyeballing from across the room, like, what?
No, yeah, you don't get to be the god of mushrooms. Sorry.
Mitnia's the
Cleary's bad
god
at
of
names.
lifting heavy things.
The god of getting swole.
The god of
The god of
soulness.
swole.
But yeah, Cleary, you want to help me take in this fracture?
Sure. More than happy. So as you sit across from Cleary, he gets all the different candles set up around you and everything, and he says, "Oh, the fracture." And I think Grim has it, right? Or do you have it?
I have it.
You have this
Yeah, I
like
gave it to him.
completely pristine, like clear fracture, right? Or is this one of the clockwork shaped ones? I don't remember.
And I don't know the description of it.
Yeah, I mean it's probably like a sort of like diamond blue sphere that is like crystalline clear, and you can sort of just see like the etchings of clockwork within it.
It's an achromatic, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's what achromatic fractures of Nirvana are like, more or less.
Yep.
Says, so, and he gestures and it starts hovering above you. He says, focus.
find your inner plane, your inner realm. Smell. And he like gestures, and you see like some of the incense like blows into your nostrils and says, breathe deep. And as it happens, you find yourself opening your eyes, looking around, and you're once again within your inner realm. This sort of dojo-like temple floating in a pristine lake. Flowers seeming to fall like cherry blossoms from the trees around. A slight breeze and a warm sunshine. Says so. And then he gestures again, and you all see the fracture enter in through the chest of this new body of Orin. And as it does, the chest kind of just like slowly kind of twists and opens. You can see the flesh like kind of like almost gears out and like twists, and it actually opens up and accepts the fracture and then like re-knits itself around it. And there's just a pulse of blue light within his chest. As it says, oh, interesting. And then you see Cleary standing next to you, Orin.
Mhm.
Says, think of what this fracture means to you. Take in all the aspects you wish, and let nothing interfere with it. Roll a D100 for me.
61.
So I think it is. One. Yes, that'd be. Yep. Okay, he says, law, probability, order. Something is trying to control your actions here. Nirvana is trying to pour its energies into you to make you more machine in your tasks, more reliability. I don't have the powers of gods to shift it in a direction like they do, but I can offer you the ability to reroll if this description does not sound like it's to your liking.
More machine-like, you said?
Your actions have a higher probability of being consistent.
I don't know. That sounds like it could be good.
Also sounds.
Although everything would sound good given the general description.
It sounds good to you? It's up to you. You can either take it or reroll.
Sounds like you might not be able to roll 20s.
You know what?
Or ones. But
we'll re-roll. We're gonna throw our hands or throw ourselves into fate's hands on this one.
Yep, Cleary's just giving you the option to reroll. That's what his bonus effect of having Cleary as your awakener is. You get to reroll if you wish.
Told you should have had me do it, you know.
Well, the new one
if
is
you had
25.
the other one is 25.
Yeah, I think
You already
he
have
would've, like,
25.
Okay.
I think you would have been stuck only rolling 10s.
So
Is
it's
what that
re-roll
other
them?
one was going to do.
Yeah, I guess re-roll again. You can roll. Okay, so you can get something to not get the ones you already have. 1 to 20 is one. 40 to 60 is one. Or no, am I wrong?
Or 41 to 60.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So it's like 1 to 20, 21 to 40, 41 to 60, and then 61 to 80, and then 81 to 100. What did you roll on your first one?
64.
61.
61.
64.
Oh, then I was wrong. Technically, that was one you already have as well.
Oh, shit. All right, so I guess
Well, he
I'll
had to
just
re-roll either
roll
way.
again. Rolling again.
So what happens
32.
when you put them all on the
Which
same?
is
That's
also
also the same one you already have. That
Oh.
would be mechanical machinations again.
Okay, yep.
This
Roll
is a
better.
nightmare.
57.
It's not
That's a new
57.
one.
Nope, that's the one that I described before.
Oh, that's the one that
That's-
you re-rolled.
So
Unless
Okay,
you really
so
want
then
that one.
now you're offering me the reroll. That's what this
now I'm offering you the reroll if you would like. So
All right.
so your target would be either between 1 and 20 and 80 and 100, or
Okay.
Or 41.
or just
and-
accepting this, or just accepting
Oh, wait.
41 to
Oh,
60.
no, wait, this is the. Yeah.
That's
I'm
he's
gonna
currently
try
at
the-
41 to 60.
I'm gonna try the reroll. We gotta go lower high. Lower high. Let's go.
This is
Nope.
like.
So stupid.
61.
Nope.
Oh, here we
So
go.
just keep-
13.
There you go,
13.
13. There you go.
13.
Absorption
This
of
is
the
a
fracture
problem
fails.
when we have so many fractures of the same type.
Cleary looks at you and says, "This one seems to be life, new life made from your machinations, your creations. Servant wishes to join you. Do you accept?"
Oh god, that's a lot of responsibility.
So,
Too young to be a dad.
The last
so you
buddy
can now
I had got
choose. You
murdered.
can't re-roll, but now you can choose between the two that you have rolled. You can choose the buddy or the consistent actions.
Roxy's gonna be a grandma.
I mean, we'll go with the buddy. Because I lost my previous buddy. Let's get a new buddy.
Okay.
It's a tiny mechanical T-Rex.
Yeah, so this is the most vague of all of them. But as this thing enters, Cleary says, "We're not done then. We're not done at all." And he gestures forward, and you watch as the ground within your temple begins to unfurl. You see the stonework begins to twist and unlock, and you see that beneath you, what you thought was just stone and mats that were covering it to make it soft on this sort of small island within this lake, you see that there are gears turning underneath, cascading down below, and a bit of light is pouring out. And as he raises it up, you see a sort of strange pedestal with a glowing blue sphere begins hovering in the air, and you can see mechanical whirrings clicking around it. It says, "This is an egg. Only you can decide what hatches from it." So what would you like as your companion? As you're doing this, at the highest point, your mechanical companion can be up to 4th level creature of any kind. But it would be a mechanical version. A stat sheet would be created based on any creature up to CR4 that you wish to choose.
Oh boy. I'm gonna have to look up some stuff.
Yeah. Or if you don't want to like go crazy with like actually choosing a CR, you could just be like, I want it to be modeled after this kind of animal or this kind of, you know what I'm saying?
You can have a cat with us.
What a CR4 cat. I'll have
It's
to.
not going to match the statistics of anything that you pick because this is the clockwork familiar. It's just to
Yeah, but I
help
just
give you
have to-
guidelines for choosing. Like size wise, you're not going to be picking like a giant thing because that's probably going to be over CR4.
Yeah, I'll have to. I'm not going to be able to decide right now, but
Okay, so this is what you guys see. He says,
it's an egg.
He says, it's an egg. Every night, as you dream, it will start to form more and more until it's ready to hatch. And as you open your eyes, you can see the mechanical whirrings and clicking. You open your eyes into reality, and you see this egg has hovered out of your chest and is clicking and whirring and moving. It says, and what can hatch from it, only time will tell.
Orange just laid an egg.
Like mother, like son.
It's like his mom is a bird.
He learned from the best.
Look what I can do.
I've never been so proud.
Does that happen often? Is that the new? Did we fuck up your body somehow, or did somebody add that?
I mean, he does have wings now, so
Oh, you're part bird.
Sure, we'll go with that.
You're muted.
Damn it, I didn't want you guys to hear me chewing. He does have wings, so...
But I can put them away. That's the difference.
Oh, dude, how do you have wings away?
See,
Alright.
watch. And I'll suck the wings in. They're gone. And then I'll
That
pop
is
back
quite
out.
nice.
And they're back. And they're gone.
So-
And they're back.
So, anybody else see the fracture done? I'm here. I've got the
Do we
candles.
have any more fractures amongst parties? Like,
You do.
non-consumed?
You have two very big fractures.
Well, we gave the water ones to Malady. I think that was it. There might have been another one. From I think it was the Cauldron of Strife.
I'm just asking because I don't remember there any being more. That's all.
Yeah, like from the goat monster thing we killed in the Cauldron of Strife. Did we get a fracture from that? I think that nobody used yet.
from what?
I think you used it. This is what this
He
thing
thinks
is, by
we
the
used
way.
it. Okay. Well,
That's all it is. The information of it won't happen until we know what creature you choose.
Orin, does your egg
Yeah.
have a name?
Not
Is it
yet.
too early? Okay.
Egbert.
Do you need to sit on it? How does this work?
I think it's just going to develop while I sleep
Oh, okay.
and dream of what it could become.
Oh.
Breakfast.
While you
Considering
guys,
it's made of clockwork and stuff, I don't think you want to eat that.
while
try
you guys
anything
are
once.
having this conversation, you see that this egg is like floating through the air, and like hanging off of Mitnir's shoulder is Midnight. That's just sitting there, just like clawing at it. You guys
try it for
forget that you
breakfast.
all have like all these little. I mean, not all of you. Some of you
Womp.
don't.
We collectively have a menagerie, as
You
it
said
should
you
be.
do not.
Yeah, but they don't. You guys never use them for anything.
Well, I don't want. Can't make.
We also never got their stats when they got small size. So
Yes, you
I don't know
have their
what.
stats when they're small size. It's as written. There's when it says what tiny is, you apply the modifier for tiny to your monster.
Wait, that's it?
Yeah.
So my baby can still cast heal?
Yeah.
Did not realize that. I thought they were unusable now.
They
Okay.
have a very small number of hit points compared to the
Well.
large versions of themselves. They have a very small I think it's a ×0 modifier to the number of damage dice, so they don't really do damage except for like bonus damage. So like if they had like plus 2d6 fire,
So
the
what
2d6
I'm
fire
hearing-
would still apply, but not the physical damage. Just the essence of the attack would still go through.
By having mine be able to cast the heal spell, which doesn't rely on any of all of y'all's damage shit, I made the best mon.
Definitely the
Until you
most
guys feed
useful
them
long
fruit.
term, yeah.
I don't think mine has any, like, tiny anything.
Yeah, I don't think mine would have been able to do much either.
You just have poison, babe.
Oh,
It's sting with a poison.
okay. Well. Oh well. I like to think that they're all running around with the cats
Yeah.
and the holly font.
They're the
mine-
the guardians of
mine's just-
the house, essentially.
Yeah.
Mine all just hide
Mhm.
inside of my stuff.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Ernie made it inside the house at some point.
What, the
Probably.
cauldron? Did you have him in the cauldron?
I'm just I hope at some point we pick him up and bring him into the mansion. We should probably bring him in here at some point.
Like, I
I
don't know
think
if he's in the cauldron or if he's.
I think he's still at the
I
college.
think he's. No, I'm pretty sure that he's been stabled in Coral Weave.
No, I think we brought him back to college. I think he's with Feywild. Pigging out.
I don't
Yeah.
remember.
I think he's with Feywild. I think he's still pigging out at Feywild.
Yeah, they're constantly feeding him potions of diminution so they don't fit without breaking everything.
Like, I think he's just like pigging out on the stew, like,
Yeah.
and like hanging out and like
Arnie-
doing drugs. I
Arnie's
think
like,
that's
I go
where we
the
left
soup
him.
goes.
Like, I think that's where we left him.
It's like, Papa, Papa, I am
Yeah,
a drug
I
addict
think-
now, Papa.
I think Ernie might still be at Feywild. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's
Okay.
where we left him.
Yeah, so it's only been like a day or two since he's seen you. He's fine.
Yeah, we'll have to bring him to the mansion at some point. Anyway,
So, what else we got, gang?
Good question.
well, at some point, Zigmore's gonna send me my list of competition, but that'll probably be a little bit.
Yeah, that'll be when I take the time to go find your competition.
Yeah, no, that's no rush. My hit list.
All right. So, unless anybody else has anything else to do, we can move on to week 4. Week 4, what are you doing?
6 days of training.
Oren, what are you doing?
I'm going to be doing some crafting and teaching Grim Abyssal and
I'm
collecting
gonna
conch.
be learning Abyssal and training.
All right. For your rolls, do you want to do a blanket roll for your crafting for the week, or do you want to individually roll for each day?
Let me see real quick what I have to make. I think I was just going to be finishing the rings for me and Caldera.
I believe that after week 3, Orin and Meaton are both level up.
According to my numbers, I'm 6 days off, so I don't know if I miscounted or
I had 1 week from previously,
Right.
yeah.
so I only needed 3 more weeks.
I think I
Yeah.
was slightly behind because I had less time
Okay.
training.
Okay.
I'm gonna roll intelligence to see if I study really good at Abyssal this week.
Remember we all
Nope.
gained
Yeah.
1 week when we did the second floor?
Did I not add that in?
Maybe you didn't. Maybe that's.
Maybe. If that's the case, then I'm done and I don't need to spend the week training.
My numbers say you're done, and I'm inclined to trust them.
Okay.
But you know.
Okay, now I believe you because I could very easily.
If
have
I
missed
if I just
that.
leveled up, you should have, because we got the
Okay.
same amount.
Then I will
Well.
say that I don't need to spend the week doing that.
I think the rest of us need another week, and Bropsy
I
needs a week and a half.
have
No,
no idea
Bropsy
how
need-
much I need.
Bropsy needs half a week, and then Grim and I both need another week.
I'm trusting Sim on that.
That sounds right.
I've been careful to keep close track of it.
And
so
that's
that
gonna
we don't
be,
lose.
17, right?
Yep. I mean, you guys accelerating your levels a lot in this time bending nonsense. It's like your Dragon Ball Z characters going into the hyperbolic time chamber and just
Yes.
coming out higher level entities. But
Yep.
that just means you're that much closer to the end of the campaign.
Sure.
So I have the rings I was making are 70% done, so I just have to finish that.
Yeah, so go ahead and roll for each day then, because you'll finish that before the week's out. Just D20 plus skill.
I think that was just my Smith tools thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just proficiency. Plus your dexterity, I assume, or intelligence.
Oh yeah, it's supposed to be intelligence. That's the tinker. Okay.
Yeah.
It's this one. So that is 22.
Well, 22? Yeah, so you go ahead and do that's gonna be 15%.
Okay, so as long as I roll close to that again, it should be done.
Yeah.
So I need 15% now.
Yep. And then
I guess I just roll right now, right, for day 2.
Yep. And then Grim, I think it's like 100 hours to learn a language.
That's a 20.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think so. Might be more than that.
I might have it in my notes because I was also learning a language at school.
I got 20 on the second roll.
That's also 15 then. You're good.
Okay, that one's done.
Did Bropsy actually complete learning?
Draconic?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you got Draconic, so you should add that to your list of languages.
Apparently, I needed 48 hours of deep speech to become proficient because he said 2 hours once a week would be 6 months to proficiency.
Language.
Should I see if Mitnir wants to breathe on these rings?
That's not what it is.
What? How many rings? What am I breathing on?
It's my rings of dream space.
Yeah.
Oh, for you and your lady friend.
Yeah, well, yeah, these ones are made specifically for me and her, but
Sure, I can do that on Monday or the first day. 20. I don't think that makes it.
nope.
You're not level 20 yet, unfortunately. Otherwise, it would have worked. All right, so with that, the rings are complete. You can go ahead and make them. They'll function how you desire. They don't have any added benefits.
Yeah. That's
So
fine.
you know that you can build items at this point more or less to the specifications, especially since I think you're capable of making up to rare or very rare items. I think it would be very rare items.
Let me check. Now that I'm 16, yeah, very rare.
Yeah, so that means that you can bypass restrictions on communications, time, sort of thing. There's just going to be maybe some limitations as far as how many times a day you can use it.
Mhm.
But other than that, yeah, no limit on range or plane or any of that. Okay. So as you complete the rings, finally get the last facet set and finish your enchantments, you're quite proud of your work.
Well, since I still have more time, I'll probably make a couple more of those Featherfall discs.
Don't forget to
Cool,
call
cool.
Caldera.
Yeah, I'm going to call at the end of the week. I skipped last week.
Mm.
All right. So next is who else is doing something this week?
I'd probably spend the week, I guess, since I don't need to train, like interacting with the people again and trying to like encourage them, like
Build your legend.
defensively. What? Well, yeah,
Like,
build legend too, but like encourage them to like, in case things happen, like you need to be prepared. You know.
Oh yeah, like dispatching people to like the eastern and western sides of the cauldron to like, or especially the eastern side of the cauldron, so that they can keep an eye on the cauldron of life
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
That's what I'm gonna spend my week kind of doing, and then I want to, like, on the last day, I'm gonna sit around and like, again, work on more like the spreading of the legend. I'm gonna use the story stick and show it, and then I'm gonna carve, new stuff into the bottom.
I'm gonna get me a charisma check.
Charisma. Why am I'm blind? Where? There it is. That is a 13.
13. So it's a lot to do. It's a lot of work trying to convince people, like, like they know that there's stuff out there, but like getting them like organized in a way. Most people are here for profit, or they've been here a long time and they know no other life, like the original denizens of the cauldron. So organizing, you basically find a way to organize a militia that is used as a basic defense force of the cauldron of purity. What would you like to name this militia?
Oh shit.
These are the defenders of the cauldron of purity, and they have received so far about a week's training from what is quickly being known as the strongest warrior of the cauldron, Mitnir of New Death.
Give me a minute to think about that, but I will think about that.
Yeah, let me know what you're naming the militia.
I just go with New Death Militia.
New Death.
No.
New Death Mach 2.
No.
Just
So,
the new
New
news.
Death. No, wait, shit. Two Death, Too
Go
Furious.
ahead and roll for me for your week, Grim, how well you study. So just D20 plus intelligence.
Yeah. That's 7.
7. You have a hard
That's
time
so
with this one.
good.
You're not sure if it's the umlaut of it all, or if it's just the guttural sort of like growling that's involved in it, or maybe, and this is what you probably suspect, Oren is not a very good teacher.
That's definitely what it is.
That's not
However,
at all true.
you do get half of the time that you spend learning towards your 100 hours. So however much time you want to spend per day actually actively learning, you can just take half of that time for the week as learning time towards your 100 hours.
I don't know how much time I would be with still working on training too.
If you were still training this week,
Yeah.
then I would say that you wouldn't spend more than like maybe 2 to 4 hours a day would be pretty much all you really have time for.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Only a few
So
hours a day.
let's go ahead and call it 2 hours a day. So you get 14 hours towards your 100 hours this week.
Okay. And I should probably roll for the previous week too, then, because we were doing it last week too.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Well, that's a 17 for last week.
Full time.
Okay.
I think I got
So
it.
go ahead and do the 4 then. So
28.
Yeah.
So 42.
I was trying to keep it simple. Just Wardens of the Vortex.
Oh, cool.
Wardens of the Vortex.
I don't know what's wrong with just calling them the Nunus.
There is a banner that has been made in the week as they begin to get this militia put together. Lots of kids really want to join, more than lots of adults, but they're mostly turned away, except those that are right on the cusp of combat age. And you get a pretty shabby group together. I'm not going to say a good group because you
Said he
just
writes them
started
a theme
training.
song.
All right. Said he
It's
writes
like
them
a
a theme song.
It's like a good like chant, like we are the wardens of the mighty vortex. Like you know, just like a little.
And the vortex, it once had teeth and tentacles.
I don't know what rhymes
But
with
if
vortex. That's kind of hard, actually. Mitnir, you couldn't have picked a better name.
All right.
Definitely. That's what I've been saying.
So with that, having developed the Wardens of the Vortex militia within the Cauldron of Purity, a defense force against the many denizens that may be lurking within the Cauldron of Life or beyond. I will say that each week that you wish to work on that, you can train them a little bit more. But right now, they are all equivalent of level 1 fighters.
And start leveling them up. You got like 4 weeks.
Performance enhancing drugs.
Made by
All right.
Grim.
And if anybody wants to help you train them, they could advance faster or in different ways.
I mean, would training them also count as training for me?
No, you can train them or you can train yourself.
I'm training myself.
Okay.
But also, can I? Because I forgot to say anything. I basically said he didn't do shit last week, but that's not true. I want to say that Seti spent last week, in addition to training and getting Aquam and like helping out and stuff, really focusing on Cleary and his mental health, and that every night, and I'll do the same thing this week. So for like 2 weeks, I visit Cleary in the dream space and I try to help him through his anxieties and like the unrest that's manifesting there, and try to like, I want to do like dream therapy to see if we can get him out of that hole and just really try to plant something new.
Yeah, he's always, whenever you go to visit his dreams, you always find him in the same place. And he seems conscious every time.
Mm-hmm.
He is in this like deep, dark ravine. Only a sliver of light up above, and you can see the moon through the crack. And he's chained. And he lives there within that sliver of moonlight. And when you approach, it always washes away, and you are able to reshape a more pleasant space for him. But he never really talks about it. Never volunteers information, anyways.
Yeah, I think after like the first couple of nights, because I've found him there before.
That's the only place you find him when you visit Cleary's dreams.
Yeah. I think after the first couple of nights of like trying to draw him out and give him like beautiful, relaxing dreamscapes to just hang out in with just the two
And he
of
does
us.
seem very happy during those times. Like, you guys spend time together, you have fun, you run around fields, and you sort of get to understand, just frolic in fields. You sort of get to understand why your father does what he does.
Mhm.
Like, why he visits people in dreams, why that's a place you can fall in love. Because you spend even more time in your dream than you could have spent in a single night together.
Yeah.
At this point, you and Cleary have spent so much time as a couple. You are past the honeymoon phase. You are, at least however
We're
you wish to be.
serious.
You're serious. You're going steady.
We're shacked up. I think after the first couple of nights of like coming back and repeatedly finding him in the hole, she'll sit him down. Like, we'll have like a nice dreamscape somewhere, maybe somewhere different. Maybe like we just took like a ride on like some unicorns through a forest or something, you know, and we've got like this beautiful vista out ahead of us. She'll pull him close and say, I think we should talk about what that place means to you. About the hall. And why you can't escape it.
When I left, when I felt myself ascending, when the laws of the universe became plain to see, and I knew that if I continued down my path, I would, in some way, reduce the light of Selûne and make it my own, if not subsuming her completely. I knew I had to atone, and I had to go into obscurity. So I did the only thing I could think to do as a servant of Selûne, and as one who cared for her. I decided to go out fighting. So I challenged Shar.
Ah.
In my hubris, thinking I would kill her or die trying, finally defeating darkness and letting the light of Selûne shine into all corners, bringing joy to others, and at least for a time, making things better. Little did I know that death is not the worst thing that a god can do to you.
No.
That was her punishment. That was my prison.
How did you get
Hundreds of years. And I wish I could just say it was time served. The fact of the matter is, she grew bored of me. She would visit to torment me every now and again, but in general, she left me to stare upon her sister's face. Always out of her view. And that she always knew where I was and was unable to reach me as well. A torment to both of us. It was your father who finally freed me. And brought me to this place. Just the time in which he separated me from the universe that I was once in and brought me to another. The only place the darkness couldn't find me. That shell, however, that part of me that holds all divinity, is still there. When I dream, by the means in which your father moved me, I return to my body. The one that still remains. The one that carries the majority of my power. The original Valhadran. Of course, there's still a large part of me that exists within the other realms. But
Because that you is still there. That's where you go when you sleep. What would you wish for that you?
I don't know. At times I wish I could just let him go. But then the other times I know that a part of me will always be looking up at the moon. And to get rid of it, to
separate myself completely would be denying who I was. But I think that's what being clearly Asantov means. He's saying goodbye to Valhaldrin. But it's terrifying. That's why I still don't know if I'm going to take a fracture or join you all. It's hard to deny a part of yourself that was there for so long that time lost meaning.
You don't have to. And if you do decide to, of course it's hard. Impossible, really. The choices we face now. But I hope you know that while you can't deny the past or forget it, you also can't deny yourself a future. You don't have to stay stuck in that place forever. You were young and in love, and you did something foolish.
Yes.
And who hasn't done that?
Well, hopefully I'll find the answer. If I just keep looking a little bit more.
Have you ever... I don't know what your relationship was like, but have you talked to Selûne? Have you made amends or gotten closure in all these years?
No, actually, I haven't spoken to Selûne since I left. I don't know if she's even aware that I'm no longer trapped by Shan.
I think it might be
I
time.
know that she might be tangentially aware that I sometimes return to my room within the castle grounds. But I think she sealed it off so that she could believe I was there or not. Like Schrodinger's Cleary.
Boyfriend.
And in a sense, I am always there and never there. Perhaps that's the way she likes it. But I haven't felt her eye, her true gaze on my skin. She doesn't know me. Not Liz Cleary.
I know that it has been a long time for you and for her, but for a god it is no time at all. I can't even begin to fathom her feelings, but I know that if it were me, I would want to know why. I would want to know that you were okay, that you were happy, or that you were still out there doing things, making a difference, being a whole person. And I think you should try to talk to her and tell her those things. And get some closure. Because maybe it would help you get out of that hole. Maybe it would help you move forward. And look at the moon.
I haven't even communed with moonlight since, well, only the artificial light of the cauldron when I sculpted that statue of you, which is, oh God.
Another foolish thing.
I suppose even after thousands of years, I will never grow up.
Well, what is it they say? Love makes fools of us all. Or maybe we're just all fools.
I'll think on that as well. And I'll get back to you. Not much I can do within the cauldron. I would have to.
I think
I guess
Roxy and
go back to my
Grim
room
can
and
conjure real
travel there.
moonlight.
I mean,
I
it
don't
could
know.
be real moonlight, but it's not.
The moon.
Talking about moonbeaming, clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stand in the beam,
Anyways.
dude.
It's like, we'll see. To not take up much more time, I'll just say that he says, well, we still have much fun to have. Let's enjoy it while we can. Wow. So, anybody else have anything they'd like to do this week? Propsy?
I am petting my kitten.
And finishing your training?
Yep.
All right, so training and petting your animals. Got it.
Turi is currently on my chest. She
All right.
has a cameo.
Starbucks in my way, so I can't see my notes. I'm trying to type.
As you guys bring another week to a close, did we already
What?
roll for this week?
No,
Malcolm?
not yet.
Go ahead and roll a 2d12 if everybody's participating.
I'm also gonna do a couple quick rolls for the pumping out some featherfall discs.
All right.
2d12, I got 13.
1,300 aquam. You guys are going to have a lot of aquam by the time you're done.
What are we gonna do with it? Who knows?
Probably turn it into different forms, like the condensed
Lots and lots of tattoos.
condensed gas of aquam, and then the for propellers and stuff like that for fuel source.
Go
Guess I'll
gamble
do-
it all away.
I'm gonna do what, like five rolls for the featherfall
Or you
discs?
can just do a generalized roll and multiply
Or we
it by
can just
5.
go see if they have any more decks at the place.
I mean, I just did the first roll and it wasn't that great, so I don't really want to generalize that one. I just still got a 16 for the first roll. I'll just do 5 rolls.
You're getting guidance.
Eh. I don't know if you can really guidance crafting.
Not if, yeah. You'd have to be sitting there the whole time, and you wouldn't be able to do your
Mm.
training if you were doing that. But those that spent the
Roxy
week
only
training,
needed half a week, so she could spend the other
did.
half.
And I could
sure, with the other half, she can
the-
give you guidance if you want to do guidance.
I'll do guidance on 2 of them.
All right.
So far, I have rolled single digits every time. So we got 16, 14,
Just supply
15.
these to the militia, you know?
then with a guidance at 22. And the last one finally gets a good roll for 31.
Okay. That's 30, 60.
I don't remember if I rolled hit points for my last.
Oh, these
level
are
up.
these are the discs, so these are relatively quick. So
Yeah.
so you make one, and you get 30% of the way done with another.
Okay.
But yours was on a D8, right?
Okay. So with that, everybody who spent their time training gets another week of training. Is this a week that you established the militia, or are you doing another week training the militia?
I'm establishing it this week essentially.
Yeah, okay, cool. So
And I want to carve the story stick on like the last day while like people are like one of the times I'm out there just talking to people and doing things. I want to.
sure, go ahead and roll me D100.
It's 42.
There's a split. The story arcs in 2 different directions. They spin around each other. in one side, there's a tree, or something like a tree, with no leaves. You recognize it as the emblem of Enverun. The opposite side, there is simply a sculpture of a hand. That's it.
And I'll fill you guys in as soon as I know what that actually means. Like, as he's storytelling.
Oh, and at the end of the week, my egg hatches.
Okay.
What do we get?
And it's a little mini version of a winged lion.
Oh.
Mm.
As this thing comes out, you see as it unfurls from itself this tiny little thing. You can see that there's like blue energy pouring in between the gearworks as it unfurls itself, and you see these sort of wings unfurl that seem to be made out of small blades. It is a little mechanical lion with wings.
Okay, but has Bropsy been sitting on the egg?
No,
Like how
No.
strong? How strong are
How
those
strong
mama
is the
instincts?
nesting earth?
If I was allowed to sit on the egg, I would be sitting on the egg. Ain't no question. I help.
Orin walks into his room. He's like, Bropsy. And you're like, I'm sorry.
I
Just
help.
flies out the window.
it's like pigeon taking off when it gets spooked.
Yeah. Yep.
Was this week enough to level us?
Everybody
Seven?
Everybody has leveled now. Yes.
Okay.
What?
And
What? Oh god.
You
That's
level
you,
up,
Bropsy.
Bropsy.
No, I know.
yeah,
Go.
you should be level 16, Brupsy. I believe. Right? 16?
Oh, I'm a little confused because
16, 16, 16,
Orin
17, 17.
leveled before me.
He was training?
I was training.
I
Doesn't
think
matter.
that it doesn't really matter. You've all leveled up.
You've done training for 2 levels at this point, right?
Yes. Everybody has.
Yeah.
Cool. So with that, another week has passed, and we begin our 5th week in the cauldron. What is everybody doing during this 5th week? We have
Guys, we
7
really should
minutes.
spend some time training to be people.
Learning more
right?
abyssal.
We can't be everywhere at once.
I
I'm
will
gonna
help.
finish the Featherfall disc and teach Abyssal and collect Aqua.
Okay. Since he's spending more of his time actively teaching you, you're going to have advantage on your learning abyssal rolls. What are you doing, Seti?
Come back to me.
Okay, you, Mitnir, are clearly training the wardens of the Vortex.
And on the last day of the week, I'm gonna try to stick the story stick into the ground and then breathe on it to see if I
Sure.
can make a stick that will continue to tell our story as like a like permanent fixture type thing.
Okay.
Mm.
So make me a D100 roll.
Yeah,
Oh, I will also call Caldera.
it's a 58. Now that happens.
Yeah, it sticks in the ground, and you breathe on it, and you walk away, and you come back the next day, and it's laying on the ground sideways.
Just like picks it
You
up.
call
picks it up.
Caldera. Boop. 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 No answer.
Well, can't say I didn't try.
Does Orin?
She's just dead. She's
I'm like,
dead.
I'm like, something's happened, right? Do any of us know that you can't reach her? Like,
I don't know.
Look, Oren's new to dating. He thinks that she just doesn't like him, and she's just choosing not to answer. It's like I did something wrong. Oh, I fucked up.
That's
But
true. That is
it
what.
also
Yeah.
has not been much time passed in the real world.
It's been like a whole day though, and y'all are in that early like. She ain't texting you. Come on.
He thinks that's normal.
I mean, I've
Fine.
gone literal like month without talking to her before.
They don't talk very often. The
She
last
is a
you knew of
princess.
about her, though, she
The last
was
we
getting
knew,
in-
she was thinking about joining Enveruna. So, you know.
Well, I'm pretty sure she did,
Yeah.
and she took on a fracture from them. So
I'd be
I'm
worried
not just
sick,
giving that
but
to potential.
I guess I'm just built
people.
different. Yeah.
She's got her own life. I don't control her or anything she does. She's doing her thing. Once we're out of the cauldron, it'll be easier to call.
Mhm. Yeah, make me an insight check.
Wow, I'm
You
rolling
know.
really bad today. That's a 14.
Yeah, you're pretty sure she doesn't like you.
I
Really
second
would
that,
hope
Aren't
that
man.
Bob's
You
No,
must
that's
have
not.
messed
No,
up.
with that roll, that's your roll's not that bad. You don't get that. But what you have been thinking so far, that's your best guess to the situation.
I mean, I was just thinking she's a princess and she's busy.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. So like, you don't glean any additional information from your insight check, is what I'm saying.
Maybe
but it
her
also
dad's
doesn't
right
make you
next to
think.
her and she
It
doesn't
also
wanna
doesn't
answer.
make you think that she doesn't like you either. I'm just saying you're not getting false information from your insight check. You didn't roll bad enough for that, but you're not getting gleaning additional information.
Oren has not dated enough to have those thoughts. He's a little dating baby.
Yeah.
I'm spending 8 hours a day this week learning Abyssal.
All right. Go ahead and make me a charisma check. If SETI is helping you train the militia.
Oh.
Yeah,
Is SETI
I'll
still giving
help.
us bardic inspiration?
Everybody gets an inspiration every day.
Can backtracking a little bit, can Bropsy be mom and talk about her first date with her wife
Yes.
and how it went on for 10 hours?
We get a D10 from you, right, SETI?
Yes, D10.
That's a 26.
26. Holy shit. Yeah, they're learning good. They're learning real good. In fact, you find that more veterans have started joining. The average level of your militia is now level 3 fighters. However, SETI, you're helping him?
Sure.
Some of them have awakened arcane potential.
I'm the best teacher. I can even make wizards.
Did you try
Um,
breathing on them?
Grim,
He
Grim
breathes
while
on
he's
somebody and they're like, "Whoa, I'm pregnant!" Just
while Grim is studying Abyssal this week,
Egg
he's casting Foresight, the level 9 spell, on himself
oh wow,
each day. So all of his studying is done with advantage for 8 hours each day.
nice.
Damn, okay.
For the whole week, he's just casting a level 9 spell on himself at the beginning of each study session.
Nice. Well, you're learning incredibly fast then.
So he's just like just blowing his level 9 every day. Yep, we're going hard.
All right. So what did you roll? Did you roll for it?
No, I mean I haven't rolled for it yet, but that's all he's doing. Is just he's just gonna like cram session and just like
Yeah, you can
Foresight
roll
every
individually, or
day.
you can just roll general and roll with advantage if you'd like.
I feel like it's probably better that I roll. Well, probably better that I roll individually, but Anyway, nah, they're both good. I rolled a 19. So it's 8 hours a day at a 19.
8 hours a day at a 19. Yeah. So you would just get full time then.
Yeah.
You don't double time or 1.5 times, but you do.
Yeah.
You do learn full. You do not at any, even if he's distracted, you still successfully learn the amount of time you put in. And if you're doing 8 hours a day of learning,
I don't know if I can be distracted with Foresight cast.
Yeah, right.
He can see into the future, so he knows if people are going to distract him.
That's an additional 56 hours, which puts you pretty close, I would
It
assume.
puts me at 98 hours.
So you basically know Abyssal, but you're like when you talk,
Yeah,
it's just not fluent. Like it's
Just-
kind of choppy.
he'll like have to spend like an extra day on the next week.
He's just got to
Like,
go pick
almost
up the
there.
certificate and sign it. I rolled a tinker check for finishing my last thingy, Featherfall disc. I got 28.
Yeah, it's done. Very done.
So I have 2 extras. So who wants one? Anybody?
I have one. So
Mitnir's good.
I have one.
So one of the three of us. Well, Bropsy can fly.
I mean, so can I, but there could be a point where you can't fly, and you might
They don't need
need
to
an
be
oh shit
they don't need
button.
to be attuned, right?
No,
It's just an oh shit button once
it's
a
a
day.
free Featherfall once per day.
I mean, I guess Grim should have one. He's like the only one that doesn't fly. I mean, he could fly. He has shape change, or well, I guess now he has shape change, but
You can always
he
give it
has,
to Cleary
Yeah.
too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, give one to Cleary.
you can give him a Cleary. I mean, Cleary can also cast Featherfall.
Give one to
But-
Grim, give
Sure.
one to Cleary.
Cleary has also during this time learned protection from elements or absorb elements.
About time.
The level 1 spell.
He fell asleep for the first day of wizarding school and never got that
Like,
one.
I spent so much time learning to evoke elements because that was what I was learning from Cinder. Cinder was like, "Hey, it's great to throw fireballs." He never taught me to absorb elements.
Yeah,
my
no,
whole foundation is fucked.
Yeah, you've never seen me cast that one? It's it's kind of like important.
Okay,
All
so
I see is tentacles in nature happening. It's different. It's like a Japanese person looking at Chinese kanji, or not kanji, Chinese symbols. It's just different.
I've made 5 of these discs, and only me and Mitnir have one. So then I have
Well.
3. So Seti, Grim, and Cleary, I guess.
Sure.
So you can add it to your inventory. It's just called Featherfall disc.
Sweet. Clear's like, well, there's only one way to find out if this works. And he stands on the top of one of the towers and he just free falls off and clicks the Featherfall disc on his way down to the water at the base. So I guess it's like the top of like either Bropsy's room or Orange's room or something like that for those towers. And he just free falls into the water and he's like, ha ha, ha, you won't catch me now. And you see that he's like falling towards the water and he just starts going and like blowing himself towards the wall so that he doesn't hit the water. He's like, I have so much time, you'll never touch me again.
He's a weird one sometimes.
That's the thing he did.
I think he's been really bored here, actually. I think he's going
that's
a
your
little
man.
nuts.
You guys have been doing a lot of very long, serious conversations in private away from him.
he's
He's
a little,
actually losing his mind.
He's a little stir crazy, yeah. I tried to give him everything he could want in this mansion. Lots of, but I think he's.
I'm
read all the
assuming at
books
some point
already.
I've returned their skin book at some point too. After
Oh,
having
yeah.
studied the abyss.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
whatever
awesome.
information I
Yeah.
wanted out of it.
easy enough. Yeah. She offers you some tea, and you guys have like a nice little chat. She's wondering how everybody's shadows are doing.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I
what's
still
up
don't
with
have
that?
mine.
I still gotta get ruined.
I don't remember what your prophecy was.
I have notes for everybody.
I don't remember what Graham's prophecy was.
Mine's a throne.
Oh yeah,
Pretty
well
sure.
that's
Wasn't
Yeah.
Seti's like she was gonna lose
Mine-
someone?
It's
Mine's
ruined.
ruin. Mine's fucking ruin.
she's
And then
gonna
I
lose
also-
something important to her.
I also got the path later when we had our fortunes read in the celestial realm.
Right. Mine was the throne for this one, and then what was it in the other one?
The key.
I think it was the it's the key.
Okay.
Either that or it was the throne twice. It was something ridiculous like that.
And
I was like, well, we
Both
know
of
what that's
Mintneers
about.
have been resolved already.
Yeah, my,
Well,
my
no,
first, my
it was
celestial one
Bropsy
was
that got the
instant.
throne in the other one. Bropsy got the throne when it was the
Oh yeah, which we know about. When it was the Hound Archon. Yeah.
And I don't believe that guy can tell fortune still.
Because he got the temple.
Yeah, immediately like fulfilled. It's like
I mean, he wasn't wrong. So
He's like,
We still don't
unfortunately,
have. We still don't have shadows.
yeah. So you guys still don't have shadows.
I do, because I never got a thing done.
yeah,
Well,
it's
yeah.
I
just
got my shadow back.
Neither did
Grim and
Bropsy.
Seti don't have
Yeah.
have shadows.
I'm not the throne yet.
Seti's like trying to like ruin stuff. Like oh, I knocked over that vase. Oh no, is my shadow back? Shit, that wasn't it.
No, it's just not coming back. Like you
All
try to like
theory
take an overnight and
statues he's
then like
making.
drop it in the water, and then you just like walk away and you're like shadow no, and you're like fuck, and you go run and pick it back up out of the water.
Yeah, pretty much.
I just have to become the king. This is it.
Yeah, you just don't have
losing
a shadow.
Oren's original body didn't bring your shadow back. Oh.
I guess I wasn't that attached to it.
It was an improvement. We didn't ruin anything. This one's much better.
All right.
Nor thought free
So,
since yesterday.
With 2 more weeks left in the cauldron, which I'll have you know is only like
Half a day outside.
12 hours till you
Yeah,
have
we
to give
gotta.
your
Okay, so next
answer
time we
to
play,
Inveruna.
we're figuring out what we're telling in Varuna, and then we're telling them. That's
Y'all gonna die. All right, I'm done.
All right, so with that, as you all find comfort in this place that you have come to call home, and yet the inkling always tickling the back of your mind, a sense of dread, anticipation, and anxiety. As in 2 weeks, you need to give your answer, which might be the most important decision you've ever had to make in your life. And that's where we end our session. So, thanks so much for hanging out, guys. We love you. And remember, we did it for the
we did it for
rolls.
the rolls.
And
did
all
it.
the babies that we adopt.
And all of the
And all the babies.
menagerie.
It's all about the
So
babies.
many babies.